how do you fix El Centro? The first thing is El Centro, since it's located right on the 8th, it needs to have a better methodology of dealing with the traffic that travels along the 8th. Because what do people see when they go along the 8th? Empty fields, whatever commercial industrial zones are off to the east, then the backyards of houses, and that's it. Then they see Southwest High School, and after that, no more exits. Gee, who wants to stop in El Centro and spend their money? Who wants to get food, who wants to get gas? Um, just, what businesses there are, it looks like there's very few, and they don't look too appealing either. So the way you fix El Centro, all the homes along the north side of the Interstate 8, tear those out, create 2 new blocks, put like a service road in for the trash, but on the one block right along the 8th, businesses and outsider chain businesses, people who basically they're going to send their money elsewhere, and that's going to go outside of the valley. Have all those guys located along one side. On the opposite side, in local businesses, La Fondas, Celia's, just all sorts of whatever sort of establishment that is locally owned, locally run, have them there so that they have equal access. And since the outsider chain businesses are 24 hours a day, and they're right next to the freeway, the light and noise and traffic will be mitigated more towards the freeway. And people who are driving by late at night, hey, cool, place is open that I can stop at. The next thing you do is you change Imperial Avenue into either an expressway, or, in my opinion, go the whole route and make it into an extension of the interstate, going north through the community. That'll help tear up, you expand the land, so you expand it towards the west, tear up some of those homes there, and I think also that's just going to help with the Imperial Valley Plaza at the intersection of Imperial and Main Street. That's just always been such a difficult place to have businesses run, because I don't know, it just always seems that you have difficulty staying financially afloat. And I'm curious now if all the current development will, succeed there. But if you now provide a lot of the businesses in the community, a new location down by the freeway. And by the way, the other thing is that all the outsider chain businesses, you have them sign a clause saying no impact. It's something like that. But basically, if they leave, if they decide to close up shop and remove, they have to tear down that building and clean it up, or clean up the land afterwards, so that it returns to its previous state before they came in. And it's all the cost goes to them, not to us. Yeah, you have a freeway, expressway, whatever, go through El Centro, and in my opinion, have it go below ground, underneath the railroad tracks, and then come back out. And then you make the 86 into a major road that has no stops, just a bunch of overpasses or underpasses, whatever, all the way through to Westmoreland, and on out. And that way you can clean up a lot of traffic, and a lot more people are going to want to drive through El Centro, through that expressway, that interstate. And guess what? More money is going to come to El Centro. So once that those 2 key things are done, like first you got to do the one, because how else you can start getting money into El Centro, since it doesn't seem to want to come any other way. But so you get the other thing done with the expressway, and now you have 2 key parts that business is going to come to El Centro regardless of what else happens. So with that little core spot right next to the freeway or the interstate, you start changing the layout of the town. You put lower-rent housing on the next layer. Then you put the civic buildings and a lot of central buildings. Because ultimately, too, you need to change the layout of the roads. You need to put in better roads, not these old country roads, which literally that's what they've been, since I look out my back window, and before I used to see nothing but fields all the way to Interstate 8. Now it's all houses and then southwest. So, it's like, other than that, the roads, the main roads that were connecting everything, that haven't been put in by whoever was building, the homes, was there before. There were old country farm roads that farm equipment, went along. So, you start rebuilding the city from the freeway basically north, or the interstate north, and then just kind of try to make it, so that the community grows outward from that. So you have a lot of your commercial and other businesses in the center with it, so everybody can walk to them and it's easy to get to. And then outside of that, that's where you make the residential zones and areas. Um, you may need to change the schools, or it may help with the schools. Heck, you could, well, that's a whole other thing with Central and improving that place. But uh, I think ultimately, when you start doing those things, you make the community look prettier, you make the community look more inviting, you make it look more organized. So that a business coming from out of state or out of the area, they want to open up a shop here, they come in, they see, okay, this community knows what it's doing. Oh, unemployment rate down, okay. Housing problem not there, okay. And if you start clearing up these basic problems, that takes care of stuff right there. I mentioned in some other videos and places that local businesses should be encouraged to hire high school students. Um, and I was talking to a woman who works for uh, the El Centro School District, and she said that yeah, they have a program like that. I think that it should be encouraged amongst the students that if they do want to go off to college, that they should start working and accruing some personal wealth. Because and then on top of that, they also need the resume experience. That's the problem I'm finding. Um, so you have the core of the city developed. You have basically the mechanism set up so that high school kids and low income are taken care of. And then on top of that, you're improving the road network. So that way it's easier for buses to get around, for people to get to places. Now, all these bad homes and just poor, inefficient homes and old homes, you just start tearing those up and replacing them with green homes. You start using contractors and hiring construction companies that use green technologies and methodologies. What's that going to do? It's going to save on energy, save on water, uh, reduce the amount of pollution that these homes put out, and the amount of heat that they generate too. Um, you just make the community better and easier, and you make it so that you develop the infrastructure, which also helps with the job situation as well. Um, and like I said, once those things are done, then you can put in, or you can start really focusing on, or you put the income that the new community is generating into the parks and recreation. You can have that walking path that a lot of people were expressing at the El Centro Chamber City meeting, and other stuff like that. You have to figure out the economics first, in my opinion, and that has been El Centro's problem. We don't understand the economics. When you drive around San Jose, California, and you see that this population with this community, which has a very similar grid farmland layout that started with like the Imperial Valley, and yet they have the poorest or the lowest crime rate in the state of California. It starts making you wonder why. And it's public transportation, low rent housing right next to commercial zones. So you work at a job, you walk right across the street, there's your home. Simple things like that. I got more ideas, but I want to help El Centro. This, it is really bad. It's hurting people. It's hurting a lot of lives. We got to do something.